Welcome to ET with GOTB at Euro 2025, day 15. Let's get into it. I'm Rachel.
I'm Sophie.
And this is Extra Time with Girls on the Ball. Yes, we're coming to you from a car park in Bern once again. We've found ourselves in the bowels of this car park. We've gone as far away as possible from the many Swiss fans leaving this car park after an exciting night against Spain. The third quarterfinal, Spain versus Switzerland. I think many of us assumed Spain were going to get through this, perhaps assumed they would get through it easier than they did. But Switzerland were brave and tenacious and disciplined and had a very good game plan, and they made it difficult for Spain.
Yeah, Pierce and Daga definitely made it difficult for Spain. I think the whole atmosphere made it difficult for Spain. They were definitely playing that 12th player.
It's a lot to play against.
I mean, we'll get to the course of the match, but like when the Spanish players stepped up to take the penalties, that happened. The boos that surrounded the stadium, like just reverberated around the stadium, were insane. So it was quite a cacophony of noise.
Oh, Siri, not now, okay? You've been quiet this whole time, and now you've suddenly decided you want to get involved in the game.
So it was quite a cacophony of noise. It's probably quite distracting. It really fired the Swiss up as well. You can tell, I just want to speak about that, like the fans and stuff. There were 25,000 fans on the Swiss fan march earlier today in Bern. That's more than there were in the stadium, because they with the Spanish fans having bought tickets and stuff. So that's more. So there were more Swiss fans on the march than that actually came to the game tonight, which is quite incredible. And I think
it's not that close as well, where the march started from to the stadium.
Yeah,
it started at 5:30, and it got to the stadium at 6:50.
I bumped into our friend who was leading the fan march, and she was like, "I'm so tired. I walked so much today," because she'd been in the stadium as well beforehand, setting it all up. They had like a mountain paneling thing.
That's what it was.
Yeah, the mountains.
I was trying to work that out from where I was. I couldn't figure it out, and I was like, it's definitely not the Swiss flag.
So there's a lot that's gone into making it a supporters group for the team, making it fun for them to support, bringing people along on the journey, and that's been the side package. That's one of the parts that has made this tournament so good. The second part is the performances on the pitch, and I think Pia got, as you said, the game plan spot on. She changed a few things around. She put Anna Maria Konogov-Switch.
Wow, well done.
I think at right back. And Iman Benny got pushed forward into leading the line.
Do you know what's really annoying is that when I was speaking about it on up front, I said the two fullbacks were going to be key for pushing forward, and they bloody changed them, making me look like a tit. So yeah, thanks for that, first of all.
So added stability, I think, in the back four. They moved to a back four. So added stability. I think Ryerson is full of running. And Anna Maria is very, very, I can only say that once in one pod, is very, very disciplined, and obviously played with the Barcelona players a lot. So she's very, very experienced.
But also adds that experience in key moments when they did get forward, so that it wasn't, bad decisions, wrong decisions, naive decisions. Like they looked threatening when they went forward.
And Benny was on there, like she's got incredible skill, but she was also on there just to sprint at Paredes and at Alexandri. And I actually think that Laia Alexandra was a bit lucky to stay on the pitch. I think because she got an early yellow card for a foul on Reuteler, I think she could have probably seen yellow in the second half if the referee had been a bit braver with it. I think there was a pullback in the second half, and she just booked Leah Volti for the same thing about a minute and a half before. And then Alexandri went and did the same.
Yes, I remember that.
And she didn't bring out the card. She just kind of chickened out a bit, I think. So it was,
Apologies. It sounds like everyone in Switzerland drives like a 5-litre Mustang every time they leave this car park.
But yeah, so Benny was on to stretch the lines, run the play. When they did break, Reuteler was so good at getting into the spaces in the middle, and she'd just send that pass down to Benny, and they'd try and break it. Paredes and Alexandra, and it worked quite a lot in the first half. But the key thing with it was to be solid at the back.
Yes.
And for the most part, for the first 65 minutes or 60 minutes or so, they were so solid. Yes, Spain had chances. Spain will always have chances.
They limited Spain to 2 shots on target in the first half, which is impressive. They also gave away a penalty, and I kind of thought, okay, once Spain get one, floodgates open. I did not expect that penalty to be missed.
well,
By
no,
Mariona Caldente, no
Mariona
less.
steps up and she 9 times out of 10 scores a spot kick. Well, actually more than that. I'd say 99.9% of the time she will put that to bed. And I just think the noise, even though she's so experienced and has won so much in her career and has stepped up and done that millions of times before, I think that noise in the first minutes, especially because it was quite early on, just the booze just got to her head, and she was made to wait a little bit as well. There was a bit of like sorting out to do, so she just had a bit too long to think about the situation she was in, and she dragged it wide.
I think, it was key for Switzerland to get into the half 0-0. And, Spain were doing their absolute best to pull the defence apart. Quick passes, back heels, little tricks around the corner, triangles. They were doing everything they could. They were pulling every trick out they could, and sometimes things just weren't meeting up. Passes just weren't, you're kind of reminded sometimes that they're human as well. You're so used to this kind of wonderful football, and it was wonderful football on display, but just sometimes it can get to your head in those situations. And I think the key for them was to be patient. We've seen them do it before. Be patient, be patient, be patient. The gap will come.
I mean, that Swiss goal was living a charmed life at times. No matter how
Put a hex on it or something.
Yeah, like no matter how well they were defending, Spain had the chances. In the first half, they had the penalty that went wide. There is a hex on penalties in this tournament, that's for sure.
I think before that penalty, before the two penalties, someone said that a stat was that 50% of penalties had been scored. That's now less because two penalties were missed tonight.
So the penalty was missed. Paredes hit the bar in the first half.
They hit every bit of the woodwork.
And then in the second half, there was this. We were just laughing at it because I was in the stands with the Swiss fans, and everyone just got the giggles because there was this moment before the first goal in the second half where it hit one post, it hit the other post. Livia Peng, who is absolutely superb, by the way, what a keeper Chelsea have got in her, got down on the goal line, I think, to save it. I mean, I haven't seen a replay, so it might
yes,
have been
you're correct.
Different. But like that, so there were three big chances there, and somehow Switzerland managed to keep it out.
Credit to Spain, though, as I said, on remaining patient. Athenea came on, and I have to apologise. This has happened a little bit too often now this tournament. I messaged Sophie and I said, Athenea is going to get the goal. And she did. 66 minutes. That's how long Switzerland were able to sustain that game plan, which is a very difficult game plan to sustain against such a quick-moving Spain.
You could see there was a big worry of a certain lead in the first half.
Oh my God, I thought that was her knee.
I thought it was an ACL, and she didn't look quite the same since, and she was definitely tiring. When it hit like 55, 60 minutes, she wasn't able to push them forward like she had done in the first half alongside Benny and stuff. So she was tiring. I think maybe if you were to find a little, I mean, you can't find much fault in what Pia did tonight, but she could have maybe switched it up a little bit early, because as soon as
Pilgrim was
came
wonderful.
On, she turned, like, she had an immediate impact. But by then the game was almost gone.
A lot of notes going around this tournament as well. Yes. It's also the tournament of notes. I had a couple of them coming on tonight, little scribbled things on from Pia to the players. But it was Athenea who got Spain off the mark. And then did the penalty come after that?
Yes.
So Patea stepped up for this penalty.
Oh no, we got the second goal.
Oh, the second goal. So the penalty didn't come after that.
Yeah.
The second goal came after
it. The second goal came next. When Pina, like a trademark thunderbolt of the goal, rocket, brilliant finish. Lea Volti thought she was fouled in the build-up, and she kind of stopped, which for a player of her experience surprised me. But it just let Pina run through onto the ball, and she just does what she does. When she's given space like that, it's a very similar goal to the one that she scored against England.
When we see the list of goals of the tournament, she's going to be up there a few times, I think. In fact, we could end up just having a list of Pina goals to choose from. But yes, wonderful goal from her. And then, there were moments where you kind of thought, like, credit to Switzerland, they did push back. Again, Pilgrim was superb.
So yeah, they went to 3 at the back, so 5 at the back. They changed Benny out to the wing back, so she was stretching the lines like she's done so much this tournament.
That's what the note said.
Yeah, so there was a bit of shifting around, and they did have some good chances. I think the problem for them is you're looking at a bunch of kids, essentially, other than maybe a couple of them, and they don't have that experience to really be productive at this stage in their careers, and that's something that they will learn from this experience and from the rest of them.
Yes, and then a surprise that Patea stepped up to take the next penalty that they got.
Really well done by the keeper, but I mean, it was a terrible penalty.
Also a very good height for the keeper as well. And then just to add to the absolute drama at the end, Pariuelo kind of got away from the Swiss defence, and Noelle Moritz pulled her back, having been, was she already on a yellow, or was it a straight red?
Yes, Moritz had literally just like
she'd done like the most amazing. She took on about 5 players.
Yeah, she beat like four or five Spanish players. Went on a jaunt up field. Then was like, they lost the ball, turned over, and she was like, shit, I have to get back now. And she saw Salma breaking through, and she just hacked it down. Tried to play the kind of, oh, I'm hurt card, and there was no getting away from it. But you know, at that stage in the game, you're wanting to stop it going to 3-0. What's going to happen now? You know, she misses one game in the Nations League or the qualifiers next time.
I think for Spain, I said this on Instagram as well, I think an important experience for them to have in the tournament, to be frustrated, to be up against a partisan crowd, to maybe struggle a little bit to put away the chances they're creating and still come out with a win, and still recognise that the patience pays off, because that'll stand to them in future games.
They were getting frustrated at times.
You could see them slapping the ground and getting annoyed.
They were trying to find a few fouls here and there. They were getting annoyed at the ref. They were getting annoyed at themselves. They were getting annoyed at the Swiss. There was just like, in that first half, from like 25 minutes onwards, they were just getting very, very frustrated that things weren't going their way. And sometimes with Spain, that can cause problems. If you remember, I mean, in a couple of the goals that they've conceded in recent games, it's because they've kind of lost their heads a bit, and they're not aware on the break enough to kind of cover that. So.
But I do think an important win for them mentally to win it in that fashion, and to score some nice goals.
I think coming off against that kind of support, they probably haven't had that
since
England in 2022, I imagine. So.
Maybe.
Because they didn't have it at the World Cup because they didn't play Australia.
Yeah, but also to have missed a penalty, that can shake you as well. So, I think an important win for them, particularly knowing they've got Germany or France in the next round, which will make for a very exciting semi-final, that's for sure. Give final mention to the Swiss fans. I think they've been superb. I think when you factor in that this isn't a country that has had a women's football scene in the same way as other more developed women's football nations in Europe, for them to generate the fan base that they have in such a short space of time, for them to turn out the way they did, for all the chants they bloody had, everything. They had the face masks of all the players. It was really nice to see the players come and take in some of that atmosphere at the end. I know they'd lost. I know that was disappointing. But at the end of the day, they did make history.
It's a bigger picture. And I think the girl I was sitting next to today, she was saying that she'd never imagined this in Switzerland, in her country, where, it's not, football isn't the biggest thing. It's not, it's quite, at club level, it's quite lowly supported. So the fact that they've managed to ride this wave, to build this kind of momentum, and I put it on social media, it's up to the FA now. The Spanish Federation, the Swiss Federation now has to step up and make sure that everything that this tournament's been about for the Swiss national team is they jump on that chance, because it won't happen again like this.
Yeah.
They won't get this opportunity again.
And also they broke the record for quarterfinal attendances with the quarterfinal to go, which is pretty impressive too. And that quarterfinal is France-Germany. My head says France. I think my heart probably says France as well. But I think both teams have shown vulnerabilities. I think France perhaps hasn't put together as comprehensive a 90 minutes throughout the tournament as they should have. And Germany have seriously shown defensive frailties.
Having written my preview today on Germany for The Guardian, I am convinced France are going to beat them.
Right. Well, we shall see. Either way, I think it's going to be a super exciting match. It's a replay of the semi-final from Euro 2022, which Germany won 2-1, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say France definitely out for revenge and looking to get a foot in the semi-final against Spain. That'll be tasty. Let's see what happens. Chat tomorrow.